Can you solve all these acid-base titration questions? Co is dash. Nice work. You chose a base and it is correct. Nickel is a dash. Right again. Salt is a valid answer. Hydrochloric acid. On track. Hexyl is the correct answer. Which is the stronger acid? Great thinking. pH1 is the right choice. Identify the strongest acid. Solid response. Okay is a valid choice. Scale that ranges from 114. Correct response. pH is the most accurate answer. Phenolphthalein is colorless in. Strong choice. Acid is the right answer. Which of these solutions is an acid? Well reasoned. Tomato soup. Plea of 4 is the correct choice. What indicator was used in titration? You chose phenolphthalein, and it is correct. What does the titration lab teach you? Clear logic. Your choice all of the above is sound. Which of the following is a debasic acid? Hexaphor is true. What color is phenolphthalein in a base? Well picked. Pink is the correct answer. Releases hydrogen in an aqueous solution. Bravo, acid is the answer. Which chemical was not used during experiment? Excellent choice. Sulfuric acid is the right answer. Which of these could be the FeSH of a weak base? Smart move. 10 is an accurate answer. A titration experiment can be used to determine. You got it. Your choice unknown concentration of reactant is right. Which of the following would be the strongest acid? Nicely done. H2SO4 is a solid answer. A dash is a substance with a pH greater than 7. You're right. Base is the correct answer. If phenolphthalein turns bright pink, it indicates. Excellent. A base is a brilliant choice. During a titration, dash is carefully added to dash. Good job. Base acid works well here. What piece of equipment is used to draw up the base? Smart pick. Pipette is the correct choice. Which of the following is the conjugate base of H3PO4? Perfect. H2PO4 is the correct choice. The equipment that holds and measures the acid is known as. Right choice. Burette is the best answer. A chemical used to show the end point of titration is called. Correct. Indicator is the right answer. What solution usually goes in the burette during experiment? Sharp thinking. Base is the right choice. Indicator preferred in titration of strong acid and weak bases. Nice selection. Methyl orange is the correct and valid answer. In a dash reaction, an acid and a base produce a salt and a water. Well done. Neutralization is the right choice. What term describes the change in color of the indicator during a titration? Exactly. Endpoint makes sense. A titration involves the chemical reaction between an analyte solution and the. Great job. All of the above is the accurate answer. What acid and what base would you choose to prepare the salt potassium chlorate? Or. Good thinking. Co and Hacklefree is the right answer. If potassium hydroxide is neutralized by sulfuric acid, what is the salt produced? Nice selection. Potassium sulfate is the correct and valid answer. Which apparatus would you use to add a solution to the conical flask during a titration? Valid point. Barrett is true. How many moles of HKR are obtained from the titration with 20 ml of 0.2 mMnO solution? Excellent. SuO4 moles is a brilliant choice. For this experiment, what is the color obtained when the titration reaches the end point? Solid response. Pale pink color is a valid choice. The Ph at the equivalence point of the titration of a strong acid with a strong base is usually neutral. 7.0 is the accurate answer. If strong acid and strong base are titrated, pH of the solution at equivalence point would be dash. You chose 7, and it is correct. The point at which the two solutions used in a titration are present in chemically equivalent amounts. Nicely done. Equivalence point is a solid answer. Titration is a process in which a neutralization reaction is used to determine the dash of a solution. Bravo! Molarity is the answer. A type of chemical that forms solutions that taste sour due to high concentrations of positive hydrogen ions. Well reasoned. Acid is the correct choice. What are the properties of acid? You got it. Your choice acids are corrosive. Sour is right. What technique is shown in this image? Perfect. Titration is the correct choice. What type of reaction is taking place here? Well picked. Neutralization is the correct answer. At which point on the titration curve will H equal to K? Sharp thinking. Q is the right choice. What is in the burette in this titration experiment? Correct response. Acidic liquid is the most accurate answer. Which acid-base pair produced the titration curve shown below? Clear logic? Your choice, CH3Cu plus Co, is sound. In which acid-base indicator is acid is colorless, base is pink. Right again. Phenolphthalein is a valid answer. Calculate the average volume of acid needed for this neutralization. Smart pick. 15.cm3 is the correct choice. Bee sting contain dash and can be neutralized using bicarbonate soda. Good thinking. Acid is the right answer. What is the name of this apparatus that is used for titration called? Nice work. You chose burette, and it is correct. Which indicator will suddenly change color at pH 7 in this titration? Exactly. Methyl orange makes sense. Which of the following best approximates the K value for this weak acid? You're right. FFX106 is the correct answer. What is the volume of strong base 0.1 limarin needed to neutralize 25 ml 0.1 MeSH3Cu? Good job, 25 ml works well here. Which acid-base pair will produce a pH jump from 2.7 to 11.3 at equivalent point? Great thinking. Hasi and now is the right choice. Base is titrated with an acid. Which pair have the highest Phet at the equivalence point? Excellent choice. Now NH3Cu is the right answer. At point P in the titration, Which of the following species has the highest concentration? Correct. Here is the right answer. 20 ml of 0.1 of acids are used below. Which acid require a diphthol to neutralize 0.1 now? Sulfuric acid is the correct answer. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format? Smart move. Contact Narayan Changda is an accurate answer.